Hey everyone, welcome back. Our next guest is a counseling psychologist who, for the past 24 years, has been a professor of psychology at Bronx Community College and is the first faculty director of the First Women's Center at BCC. She is the founder and director of DeAlmas Women's Institute, which is a space for women to reclaim, honor, and express their divine feminine gifts and unique human potential. This year marks the 24th annual Visiones Retreat. Please welcome founder of DeAlmas Women's Institute and creator of Visiones, Gloria M. Rodriguez. Hello, welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So wonderful to be here. I really appreciate you inviting me on to talk about Visiones and then some.
Yeah, well, happy, healthy new year. And
Thank
it's
you.
lovely that you continue offering these services amid our current circumstances. I mean, I think it's really important. And on a personal, I do want to open up with just expressing my gratitude to you for providing the meditation forum that you've been doing, I want to say for 2 years via phone, as well as the intention setting that you started at the top of the year. I think what you've been offering is so needed right now, now more than ever, even though you've been doing it for very many years. So let's talk about what's in store for this year's Visiones.
Yeah, well, I think you're absolutely correct. I mean, we've been, just to kind of get back to the meditation circle, we started that in March 2 years ago when COVID first hit. And, we were all in need of connection and community and spaces where we could come together and support each other um, and help one another in dealing with issues around isolation and all the things, grief and all the things that were happening. Um, I mean, unfortunately, that still continues, right? I mean, we're still dealing with many of those challenges, and our mental and emotional health have been extremely impacted by all of these challenges that we have been experiencing, on top of all of the injustices that have happened, particularly over the last 2 years. So, so we have remained consistent in offering these spaces for women, and Visiones has been, a staple workshop that offering for De Almas, and particularly to begin the year with an intention, right? To begin the year intentional about how we want to move forward for our lives in the next year, right? And what that means is that we have to kind of think about and look at what has happened in the year before and begin to kind of release some of that, heal some of that, forgive some of that, right? In order to move forward, feeling the sense of freedom and a lightness of being and hope and all of the things that we want to experience in our lives. This year, we are doing it virtually. Last year, we did it virtually as well. I didn't realize how it was going to, kind of translate in a virtual environment. We had over 80 women register last year for the workshop. It was a day and a half. We had a various number of facilitators, and it was amazing. I mean, I think again, intention, and I've been facilitating this, and the facilitators that I bring on, right, are very skilled in what they do. And so the energy remains the same, right? It just kind of bursts out of the computers, and everybody is still feeling it as we're doing our own individual work together. This year, the theme of the workshop is stretching beyond, right? So stretching beyond, I mean, I just think that that's an amazing sort of metaphor, right? Stretching beyond the past, stretching beyond old ways of thinking and perceiving about oneself, stretching beyond.
I think that's where we are now, though. I think that's where we've all arrived, like collectively, because we've. I don't think any of us thought that we would be going through this again at the top of the new year.
Right, right. I agree. I mean, I think, we were all like, we were all feeling, the joy of being outside again. And then all of a sudden, this hit. And so
Right.
we're kind of moving back indoors. Although things are starting to open up, we have to do it mindfully and we have to do it consciously, right? Making the right decisions about how we choose to be social, how we choose to be in gatherings, et cetera, et cetera. But I do think that the piece around stretching beyond is really important, because there's always more that our spirit, that our heart, that our soul wants us to manifest in the world, wants us to grow and to be in, the world, and have a life that is meaningful and purposeful, right? And so until the day that we die, we're always a work in progress. We're always growing. We're always, changing. We're always making choices, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that stretching beyond, and Visiones, the thing about Visiones that I think is kind of sets us apart, is that we're not about at the top of the year setting resolutions.
Right.
Resolutions don't work. Research has shown 3 months into the year, people don't even remember what their resolutions are. I don't even use that word, right? But this is a time for us, again, my favorite word right now is to be intentional. And
Right.
intentionality comes with self-awareness. And so a lot of my work is really to kind of peel back the layers of things that we may not even be aware of, that we may not even be conscious of, that's holding us back from doing the things that we are really called to do, from being authentic, from living a life that has some joy and meaning and purpose in it. There's
Let's
no
talk about that for a quick second, about
yeah.
joy and meaning, right? Because I think people right now in this particular stage, at least a lot of the guests that we have on the show, a lot of people have been pivoting. I mean, we even have a career coach at the top of the show in this particular episode who is discussing like being able to like capitalize off of your side hustle. And what we've noticed is that a lot of people have shifted like drastically in either their careers, their lifestyles. And so, once again, at the top of the year, you're saying we're not talking about resolutions. We're talking about this expansion, right? The sacred stretch that you're referencing. And so participating in Visiones, which I've participated in the past, in this particular one, what do you think people will be able to get out of it, considering that it's been minimized down to a 3.5 hour experience?
Well, that's a good question, because I think the intention and the ways in which we structured it is still of a high quality, right? I mean, and I also think that the vibration that we carry into the space is really what sets the tone and provides a container for everyone who's participating to get the most out of it, right? There is for people who are participating, there has to be a willingness. There has to be a willingness to go deep, right? There has to be a willingness to stretch. There has to be a willingness to participate in the exercises, in the reflective activities, in all of what the facilitators are going to be offering us to get the maximum, right, benefit. And I do think that you're right. I mean, I think that these last 2 years, everyone has been changed by the last 2 years. People have, change careers. People have decided to move to another part of the country or the world. People have decided to, leave relationships. People have decided to deal with, healing certain relationships that they hadn't been, that had been estranged from. I mean, I think that, that is a very individual experience. And what we're asking is that if you decide to participate in this, right, that you are going to get the most out of it by being open and receptive and willing to listen to your heart, listen to your soul, and to be able to do this in a community of love. I mean, this is a bell hooks, I love, just using that term, communities of love, right? That bell hooks coined, because I think that is needed now more than ever. And I think women have the capacity to nourish and nurture and support one another in our journey.
I agree, and that's why we always have you on. At least we try to have you on annually to move this forward and bring it to our viewers. And so, before we go, really quickly, where could people sign up to participate in this year's Visiones?
Right, because we're doing it differently this year. We also, I mean, BxRx has always been a fee-based workshop. We're offering a sliding scale. So if anyone who is interested, they should email us at dealmasinfo@gmail.com. I will personally respond and give them all the information that they need to participate.
Wonderful. Thank you. Gloria and Rodriguez, once again, you guys, BxRx is taking place on Saturday, January 22nd. That's happening between 11 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. And for more information, you can email her at dealmasinfo@gmail.com. All right, stay tuned because Bobby C's Weekly Sports Roundup is coming up next.